We good?
Yeah, I think we got it. All right, we're recording. All right, we
Yeah.
finally did it. All right, so a little background about before we get started on this interview. Me and Richie were trying to connect for our Miami comedy podcast via Instagram Live, which we do every single Sunday at 5 o'clock. And unfortunately, we were having some technical difficulties.
It took exactly 29 minutes.
Was that
It took exactly 29 minutes if
yes
you're counting.
to find out that we were fucking up on live stream. So everybody saw us on Instagram Live trying to connect for a long time.
Yeah.
And the reason for this interview is to talk to Richie about our upcoming Valentine's Day show. Which little background on this as well.
I'm pumped about it too. Pumped.
Richie was supposed to be with his girlfriend in Boca. Richie, you want to tell us the background as to how you got this gig?
Let's not be too loud. She's taking a nap right now. But let's just say I'm gonna duck out and make a little drive down to Miami on Valentine's night, and I'm not sure how it's gonna go over.
It's
But
going to go great. We sold the first show. We already
oh
got the
no, the
second one.
show is gonna be great. I just don't know how it's gonna go here.
Oh, I see. I see. I
Yeah.
met Richie through our mutual friend Kyle Grooms. I
Who
got
I was just texting with. Yep.
I got some cohibas from Cuba and had a good like how many were it? It was like half a dozen. Is that your girl there,
Uh,
Richie?
that was her mom. But I think maybe five. It was a solid five sticks. I was pumped about them.
All original cohibas, which for some reason we were able to bring from Cuba. They didn't
They
stop
were,
us at all.
yeah,
We got
it was
like
definitely
25
of
of those.
suspect provenance. I don't know what you did to get those Cubans,
Yeah,
but
man.
I
All
was psyched.
original, wrapped in a
Yeah,
newspaper. They didn't tell us nothing, and we were like, all right. And so Kyle connected us, and we met at the James L. Knight Center while you were opening for Katt Williams. And then after
yeah.
that, you came to South Florida again, and we met at a strip club at G5. How did you get that gig?
Which one? I mean,
G5.
G5 is from because that's owned by Jerome Bettis and his brother, and the old Steelers guy, the fullback. And I do his club in Pittsburgh a lot, so they bring me down. Well, it was also because once that's what it was. Is that I crushed Jerome Bettis when I was on stage in Pittsburgh. Like he heckled me or something. I just went in on him, so he loves me now. But dude, G5. Okay, so first of all, I love those dudes, and I love that like they take care of me great. I do it every year, but it is such a fucked up place to do a show. That
It
if
was
you know
rough for
anything
all the other
about
comics. I remember that. And then you went
everybody
on
bomb
and
except me, I
yeah,
think.
you went up and did great.
If you guys know anything about comedy, you want to have no distractions. The best comedy club is a low ceiling, a brick wall, and nothing else to look at. At G5. It's a high ceiling. There's balloons and streamers everywhere. There's bottle service going by. So every time somebody pops a bottle, it's a line of it's just fire and smoke going by, and then there's hookahs that every time somebody takes a puff, everybody looks at that, and on top of that, there's ass and titties
Everywhere.
everywhere.
And they sit him in the front row.
Yeah, some girl in the front row was in an outfit made out of electrical tape.
I
And
remember.
it was that night that I realized that the worst titty is better than the best joke. Like, dude, Richard Pryor could come back from the grave with Robin Williams on his shoulders. If there's one lousy titty next to it, I'm looking at that. I'm looking at it. It's a disaster.
Do you
But fun
usually
at the same
get
time.
South Florida gigs? Because I think that was the only time, other than the James L. Knight Center show, that I've seen like you perform in the South Florida area.
Yeah, for some reason that is the only time that I've been down here. It's ratchet ass hood stuff and soon Brickle.
So, hey, the Brickell area is popping off in Miami, man. So this is
Absolutely. No,
for those
I know it is.
for those that are tuning in, man. This is going to be a very rare appearance from somebody that travels all over the nation. He's going to be here in South Florida. So what was it like? What was it like getting handpicked by Katt Williams?
Uh, I mean, it was the way that it happened was crazy. That I had just so I was in Korea doing a tour there, and I told this guy who kind of runs the Philly scene, which is where I started, about this epic bomb that I caught when I was like 6 months in. That I was like, I was like short on rent, and like my girlfriend didn't know that I was, and it was like I had this dude staying with me for a minute that was supposed to get me all these gigs, and then he finally gets me one, and it's doing time in between Memphis Bleak and Joe Budden in what would soon become known as the Free Beanie Siegel concert. It was when Beanie was locked up. It was 100 degrees that day. It's fucking disgusting out. And so like Memphis Bleak just went up and ripped. And there's 5,000 people at this outdoor amphitheater, right? And I'm 6 months into comedy. This is an absolute recipe for a debacle. If the host brought me up well, it would have still been a shitty show. But he brought me up as this next dude is a comedian. He just graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. Now, this is in West Philly, where Penn is, and they hate Penn. So he might as well have just said, "Here's Whitey." And, dude, as soon as a stage light hit me, like as soon as they saw it was me, boo! Like 5,000 people started booing me. But there's also but you have to back it up for a second. That right before I get brought up, this promoter who's clearly a drug dealer he pulls me aside. He's like, "Yo, man, I don't know how they do at these white boy clubs, but around here, if you don't do all your time, you don't get all your shit. 10 minutes." Fuck. So the second that I'm out there, I just get hit with this tidal wave of booze, and I've never been in this situation before. And I made the mistake that I looked into the light, and so I'm just blind, and I just like, and I'm getting the shit booed out of me. So I was like, well, I guess we're going down swinging. And I started throwing out all these random snaps at people. They're like, "Bitch, your titties look like they're trying to make sure nobody steals your feet." Like just dumb shit. And it got them to shut up. And I did that for like a minute. And then they shut up. And I was able to do like 7 minutes of kind of shitty comedy until somebody in the back was like, I want to boo again. Do you want to boo again? Yeah, I'll boo. You're booing? I'll boo. Let's boo. Boo. And it starts, and I'm just telling these shitty jokes, and then like this fucking thing builds up, and I feel it like about to go, and then just kaboom! 5,000 people booing again, way harder than they were before. They're having a great time, and I got a watch on, and I'm literally just sitting there looking at my watch the whole time. Like, so I just got here from Jersey. Man, are my arms tired? I'm just talking nonsense, but just soaking up this beating because I had to take the full 10 minutes. And I finally, it's finally over. I did like a 20-second countdown for like the last bit of it. And, I go to the promoter with my hand out. He's like, "Yo, dog, that last couple minutes wasn't real strong. Like, that's not what we talked about, motherfucker. We talked about."
Do you think sometimes these promoters kind of bring the comics to kind of just like, this is the booing section of the show? Like they set you up?
But also, I mean, the translation of what he said to me was, "There's not a fucking chance you're doing all your time."
Exactly.
So I'm going to preface with this to make sure I can save this $500.
Right.
So at any rate, I told my buddy Toure that story when we were in Seoul, and like 2 weeks later, he calls me back. He's like, "Yo, you're not going to believe this." I'm like, "What's up?" He's like, that venue is doing a concert again, and they're looking for comics. You want to come down and even the score? I was like, hell yeah, because I knew what I was doing now, And the guy, and it was the same thing. The two guys that went on before me just got destroyed, and they just went out like first of all, for the people booing in the back, go fuck yourself. You don't even have a seat. You can't boo me if you have grass stains on your pants, pussy. So I just preempted the whole thing, did my time, got out of there, and so here's where it all ties in: is that the producer of that show gave me his card, and I was living in New York at the time, and every 3 months or 4 months, whenever I kind of felt like committing comedy suicide because I didn't have enough going on, I would email that guy and be like, "What's up, man? You know, I still want to do a big show with you." And after like 3 or 4 years of that, that dude hit me up out of nowhere on a Friday night saying, "Hey, you want to open for Katt tomorrow?" Yes. So, you know, so it was in Philly. It was a home court type of thing, and he wasn't even there when I first went on. And I was kind of like bummed because like, oh man, I wanted this dude to see me. And like out of the shadows, as I'm getting off the stage, comes this dude. You know, he's 5 feet tall. He's got a fur coat on, fur hat on, purple suit, gold shades. Young man, absolutely stupendous. I was like, "Oh, thanks, man. You watched my set?" He's like, "I did not, but I heard the crowd, and it was absolutely stupendous." I was like, "Well, dude, thank you, man. I would love to do shows with you again." And he's like, "I'll have you on the road, and that's my word." And for like his next like 150 shows, I was on the road with him. But I mean, it was crazy.
Is being on the road with Katt like, yeah? Is it as hectic as it sounds? I mean, is it hard? Is it hard to be? I'll rephrase it. Is it hard to go out on the road with a big name, mostly urban crowds all over the nation, right? Is it like, does it take a toll on like your rest, or does it take a toll on your creativity, or the kind of act you got to do? Like, what's it like?
I mean, you're definitely only singing the hits, you know what I mean? But like, I kept everything in check because, you know, on the weekends it would be like, you know, we're on a G5 jet, we're staying at the Waldorf, we're staying at the Ritz, you know, it's nothing but like super high end shit. But like, I would stay on my grind in New York. I call it Suicide Sundays. That there was this one time that on Saturday night I was in front of 18,000 people. And on Sunday night, back in the Village in New York, it was 6 people, all of them Norwegian. 3 of them spoke English, and the other 3 were translating. It was like there's no greater, like, just, you know, get up to the top of the roller coaster and like, oh shit, this is how famous I am. But it's comedy, dude. That's what's so crazy about it. It's just, I hear you, man. Yeah, and it, like, you know, the 6 people is way harder, especially when they don't speak English, than 18,000. It's a fucking breeze.
But at least you saw it, man. I mean, it must be incredible to do arenas with such a big name. What do you have going on now? I saw that you were posting that you wrote a segment for the Food Network that they picked up.
Yeah. Well, I wrote a thing that went to pilot. It's way too funny for it to actually make it. It's basically Adam
way too funny
everything.
To make it.
Yeah, it's way too funny. It's basically Adam ruins everything for food. That like it's called Accidentally Delicious, and it's all these like mistakes that led to foods that we have today. Spoiler alert, the graham cracker was created by a guy, a reverend that thought he could stop people from having sex by having a really shitty cracker for their diet. It's an insane story. But yeah, I got a ton of shit going on. I'm constantly pitching shows and just trying to level up. But I do a very niche podcast with my girlfriend. It's called Pets and Punchlines. She's a veterinarian, and it's comics with pets talking to vets. So it's just this weird interview that we do with people, but it's like you get to know them by way of their pets, and they get real vet advice. It's destroying every other podcast that I've ever had. We get like 20,000 downloads per episode.
Where can they find it?
What's that?
Where can they find it?
Pets and Punchlines, baby.
.com?
Just look it up. It's anywhere that you can get a podcast. But I also have a show called Ratchet Ass Trivia, which is a real fucked up trivia show that got me thrown out of Esquire Network. What else? It was going absolutely great. So it's all just like fucked up trivia, and then we felt like we like had a show. We're like, yo, we might sell this bitch. And then we got to the final round, which is called Guess That Race, that I read you a true crime and you have to guess the race of the guy that did it. Woo, that didn't go good. Man, did they kick us out of there. But so I produced it myself. I've got 4 episodes of it up right now. I've got another 9 coming, and got another news show coming up called Really Real with Richie Redding that we're recreating fake news stories that went viral, but we're treating them all like they're real stories. So it's gonna be funny shit.
All right, Richie. So for the people that are tuning in and are getting to know Richie, there's going to be mostly couples on our show on February 14th. What can they expect?
Just some real couple friendly family material.
Very romantic evening.
Yeah, dude. I mean, every time I've been in Miami, I was able to kind of drop the script a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I always have fun when I'm here, and it's going to be loose. It's not going to be PC at all. If you're a PC butthurt HR motherfucker, then stay your ass home. Like, pay for the ticket, but then stay home.
No refunds, by the way.
No refunds. Yes, especially. But yeah, I mean, it's going to get loose. I'm going to be. There's a whole bunch of dirty stories I'm probably going to tell also. But you're going to hear me bitch about my girlfriend a bunch. She's crazy.
Is she going to be present? Is she coming?
Probably, yeah.
All right. All right, Richie, thanks so much for this interview, man. I'll post it shortly. I'll tag you in it. And for everybody that's tuning in, see you next Sunday, 5 o'clock. Bye, Richie.
Yeah, peace. Bye.